Oh, this way. Oh my God. Hey, Trey dared me. I haven't used this stand in so long. I'm like, loser. You know what? You know what, bro? Marcus, I can't believe you guys. Still the same. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. What's up, Trey? See, I told you, you dared me to go live, and JJ, what's wrong, man? Why? Oh, he's matching with the baby. Yes. Finally figured out how to change my YouTube channel name. What you can change? Wait, what do you mean change your YouTube channel name? Oh, I think they mentioned at some point in the past you could change your URL or something, but I think didn't it say it like it resets stuff or something? I can't remember. Baker's like, gotta stream once this year, might as well be today. Exactly. When people are up, I'm on baby patrol essentially. So I saw Jesus. What's up, Astro? Is that you, Akima? What's up, Amon, Marcus, Trey, Budster? How's it going, dude? That's you. Happy New Year, folks. It's New Year. Is that Among Us? What I mean is what Among Us? What? You're talking about the breast pump? This thing, the breast pump? You forgot you changed that? How you been, Akima? Man, like if only we had a different way to connect. Like Snapchat. It's not like we're friends on Snapchat or anything. I feel like we don't ever chat. I'm sorry. I know you're busy. I'm busy. Obviously, now more so than before. Gosh. Whoa, that's JJ now. Breast. It's 11 p.m. Phone works both ways. I know. I mean, JJ, it's not 11 p.m. I mean, it's 11:47 p.m. if that's what you mean, but not 11 p.m. Yeah, it's hard to imagine living in any time zone other than Eastern. I mean, Eastern time zone is the only time zone that should matter. So what's EST gang rise? Throw up them W's EST. Wait, throw up the E for East Side. Um, babies are a lot of work. Well, you know what? She does a lot of work with Stefan, man. Like, not gonna lie. I mean, I try to tell her and show as much appreciation as possible for everything she does. Because I mean, when I'm working, she's got it. Even though I'm like right across the hall, if you will, she's taking care of Stefan all the time. So, she's basically got to put up with the majority of whining and feeding and crying and bathing and talking and tummy time and all that other stuff. But I mean, I got to work. Someone's got to work, right? You finished last in the fantasy league. You blame Herbert? But how are you gonna blame Herbert? Okay, first off, buddy, did you have Lamar Jackson as your number one pick? And if you didn't, how come? I want to know. We all know Baker's gonna be a great father. Dude, I would try. I'm gonna try. I'm certainly gonna try the best I can. It's I'm not gonna. I don't take it lightly. Actually, Angela kind of gets upset with me sometimes because she gets really upset because he'll be sitting in his baby seat and I'll walk in the room and just come up to him and be like, "Hi, how's it going?" And he'll have the biggest smile on his face. And she's like, "He's around me all the time, but he hardly ever smiles at me or laughs at me because he'll laugh like really hard. I'll do something, and mainly it's because I just mock him. That's all I really do. I just make his baby noises back to him for the most part, and he just starts cracking up. And I told her that today when we were sitting here. I was just like, just I'm like, I just basically give him what he wants, and then he just laughs. And sometimes he'll laugh so hard, and it starts cracking me up because I'm like, how are you laughing so hard, kid? But she gets mad that he seems to take a liking to me more than her, even though she's the one who like primarily cares for him. Obviously a higher percentage than I do, that I have to worry about. I mean, mainly because of work, right? I mean, there's because of that, but uh, I don't know what. So what are you guys planning on? Can we see your six pack? Yeah, let me hold up. If I had a case of Angry Orchard, I'd hold it up over here, buddy. My dude, I gained so much weight, JJ. JJ, I need you to help me. How do I cut fat? I don't mean weight, I mean fat. I definitely gained fat. A lot of fat. You feel her pain, you've dealt with that. I mean, he was stuck in her for 9 months. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that she feels like, certainly she should have a better bond with him than I do, but in a matter of seconds, just me interacting with him, he just lights up. You lost your fake what? So you're just chilling with the dog. Run 6 miles? No, see, that's cardio though. What's up, Preston? How's it going, dude? I should really give you shit though, Preston. I mean, honestly, because I saw that what you posted in Discord, and I could have said something like a couple weeks ago, but I didn't. I was just being nice, and you know, honestly, I feel like no one pulls any punches when it comes to something that has to do with me. But I feel like I pull a lot of punches when it comes to with other people because I care about how other people feel or what they think or whatever. And I don't know, man. It's Baker Jr., not whatever her name was. Junior, what? No, stop. No. I mean, it's our, uh, it's still our child. I mean, obviously, she had to carry him for, as Donovan mentioned, for 9 months, at approximately 9 months. So I mean, that wasn't easy work. You think we care how you feel? No, clearly not. Better start teaching that baby how to kick. I know, right? Hey, you know what? He's very active. He kicks his legs all the time, and Angela was asking him today. Obviously we're just trying to make conversation with a baby as best you can. But she was asking him today, like, "Hey, why do what's up with your legs?" And I'm like, "He's got so much baby fat on his legs." I'm like, he's trying to build some muscle because he needs to burn off all that fat on his. He's got this like squishy baby rolls on his legs. What did you do wrong? I'm kind of messing with you, kind of not. You're OMG OSU. What happened? Sorry, I don't know what the rules on YouTube are anymore. I'm trying to drink my Seven Up, my cherry Seven Up, but I don't know if YouTube likes cherry Seven Up. So when do you plan on getting Baker Jr. driving lessons? He's got a ways to go to that. Where's the baby? He's in bed. I kept him up. So she was so exhausted from just cleaning today. And she was tired, but she said, "Okay, I'm gonna." Because I said, "Look," I said, "You can go to bed." I said, "I'm staying up with Stefan, and we're celebrating. We're welcoming the new year together, regardless." So I'm like, "You go to bed, that's fine." But he is staying up with me, and then she's like, "Well, I want to stay up with you guys then." So then she kind of napped for a little bit, and then stayed up for the half hour between 11:30 and midnight, and Stefan started crying when I was like going, "Yay, Happy New Year!" Like I was being loud, but then he started crying. So I think obviously he's, starting to hear better, care more. Baker Jr. hit up my girl last night. I'm single now. What's up, Stud Rat? How's it going, man? How are you doing, dude? I cannot believe that Minnesota won that game against Indy. That is just it's sickening. It's pronounced Stefan. Yeah, dude, my name. That's how my name has always been pronounced. But people throughout my life have just looked at it and called me Steve or Steven, and I just said, whatever, I don't care. But now that I have a son and his name is Stefan, like when people ask me what my name is, I say it's Stefan. You could be John Cena. So yeah, his name is pronounced Stefan. Just show up once a year now. Yeah, well, I mean, shit, no, that's more like Brock Lesnar. John Cena almost shows up more than once. John Cena shows up more than once a year. And I mean, I guess Brock is maybe a little bit more active now, but at the before, like Brock would show up and win the belt, then drop it like the next year or something, and never show up in between. No, his nickname. Don't even say that. Someone said that to me, Donovan, the other like pretty recently about, oh, you could call him Steph for short, like as in Steph Curry. I said no, and they were like, okay. I'm just like, f that. No, you have a good story for me. I highly doubt it's good, but I don't know. What's the story, JJ? So what do you do now? Are you working at like Texas Roadhouse or something, or still? Like, what do you do? Do you work with Gamer, aka Carson? Which, by the way, I text with Carson, aka Gamer, every once in a while. It looks like he's doing well. He's doing good, even though we don't see him on Discord really at all anymore. A Lemmicky fan? What the heck is that? Remember the stream when he came out as WWE champion? Yeah. You should stream as many days straight as Roman Reigns' title reign. Oh God. Yeah, that's crazy. Texas Roadhouse, you're chilling right now, easy money, but I'm thinking about going to server. Oh, what do you do? Are you like busboy or something, or like what do you do? I'm assuming you're not like a host because you only usually just have like one of them, or like I guess you could be a cook, but I'm pretty sure you have to like have some culinary experience maybe to be a cook, even at a restaurant like that. I mean, I could be wrong, but the one thing that Texas Roadhouse does do well, which is still very surprising to me. Now, maybe it's the one I've gone to in the past, but their salmon, their lemon, their salmon that comes with like a lemon butter seasoning or whatever, it is freaking amazing. Oh, so let me ask you this, JJ: is there salmon? Which I don't know if you know the answer to this. Do you know if their salmon comes like frozen, or like do they like get this stuff in fresh, or is it basically like packaged up and they basically take it out of a package and throw it on the grill? And you moved out for a month and went back with your mama. What? Well, why'd you move out? I see. That's the thing, dude. Like, I want to kind of like, I don't want to give you shit. Like, I'm trying to like, I don't know. I mean, I know like there's things in the past that you kind of I can bring up, and it's more or less just to be funny, because everyone will remember them too, because we all experienced that stuff together. So it's like, I feel like you guys are like my extended family that I like don't talk to very much, unfortunately. It's I try to engage with you guys in Discord and stuff like that when I have some time here and there, but sometimes it just gets difficult because it's like you have to decide, well, I'm taking care of my son. Okay, I'm done taking care of him. Like I'm up. I'm kind of doing my own thing. Like, do I want to chat on Discord, or is there something else that I need to do for work? Or I've been doing this training stuff recently, and it just I don't know. That was more recent though. So, but I just don't like. Yeah, I've been trying to cut back on my phone use because that got really bad. Like I mean, I feel like it's so bad because even like what 2 weeks ago. Shit. He better not wake up. I have a feeling he's gonna wake up because I tried to feed him before bed. He stayed up an hour later than usual. I tried to feed him before bed and he did not want to eat. But it was because he was so frustratingly tired that he like wanted nothing to do with eating. That's the one thing you have to learn about kids. You just kind of get a sense too. Like you just But I was gonna joke and say, JJ, did you move out because your mom tried to take your doorknob away again? That's what I was gonna come in full circle back to the original point. I was gonna joke, say that I moved out with this girl in her apartment, but I did something, so she's mad at me. So I'm here chilling with the dog. What? You're in a doghouse? Is that what you're trying to say? So you moved? Yeah, well, okay. So who's this girl? Who's this? Was some just random girl, or was that like a girlfriend? Like, F buddy? I don't know. Someone that like. Oh yes, Happy New Year, JJ. Happy New Year to you, buddy. When is your training done? Well, technically, so my training finished. It finished last week, but because I was on vacation, Baker Jr. appearance would be bigger than a John Cena appearance, right? Um, God, I'm like so hot right now in these pajamas, dude. These pajama pants. I'm like dying. I'm like sweating in these damn things. I don't understand it. Like I feel like these pajamas, they're so thin, but oh my God, I get like start sweating in these damn things. It was this girl at Texas Roadhouse. Oh, I've only been known her for 2 months, and yeah, for the dude, like you live in Mountain Time. What? So you're an MST. So you're an hour. You're another hour behind. Jesus, dude. Can't believe it. MST. I know some people from work who live in well, they work from Colorado, but they're MST, Mountain Standard Time. I feel like, but primarily like people we work with are either Eastern, Mountain, or Pacific. I don't think I've ever communicated with anyone who said yes, I'm in Central Time. JJ's is pimping at Texas Roadhouse. Him and Gamer up in there. So do you live anywhere around where Gamer like Carson lives or whatever? I don't know if you guys ever talk to each other, but I mean, I think I'm not sure actually if he still works at a Texas Roadhouse. He said that he just said he recently started college. So that's all that's the only thing I know is he said he recently started college. So I'm not sure if he's still working at a Texas Roadhouse. But it sounds like Texas Roadhouse is a good place for drama. He's the opposite side of Texas. Okay. All right. You thought he was going to military? Yeah, he said that the he was trying to go into the Air Force and he said that didn't pan out apparently. Him and I were supposed to talk. I mean, it's not like we won't, but I mean, we'll have to find some time where him and I can talk. But we were supposed to talk, and I was going to ask him like, what happened and how it fell through and all that stuff. It just drama fluff these women. Well, look, if guys didn't have dicks and girls didn't have vaginas, I mean, you wouldn't have drama. that's that's the life, man. Even when I worked at like Stop and Shop or now what is modern day Giant Eagle, like there was drama there too. You wouldn't believe it. Like women just wanted an excuse to do that one more time. What are you betting on? Dude, I think BakerBot's dead. I'm not even sure. Like because I've never like turned it off, but I think the cloud service or whatever. So I think you have to like just like when I streamed, it seemed like I had to kickstart that thing all the time. But then sometimes if I didn't stream for a while, like we'd come back like 7 days later and use the commands and they would be fine. So I don't know. It seemed weird because it seemed like every stream when I streamed daily, I constantly had to kick that thing. There's drama at all workplaces. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'd say, well, I will say this. I mean, depending, because in IT, like if you're working a professional job, and I don't know, I don't know how else to say it. So I mean, I'm just gonna stick with that. If you're working in a professional environment, you don't really have all that drama. I mean, you kind of do sometimes, but not really. I mean, I've never, for all the years that I've worked in IT, like I've seen some drama like once. Actually, I was involved in some drama once. Let me just put it that way. Like, gosh, but one of my mom coworkers at Beat Ups claims he has a PhD, which explains why he's like, "What?" Okay. Yeah, if you got a PhD, you're not definitely not working at B Dubs. That's just crazy. How does this work? Can I do this? Oh yeah, I can do this. Target is chill. Is that where you work now, Donovan? Didn't you say you applied to for like Ace or something? I I don't even cheese, man. I don't even keep up on you guys that much. PhD in tokenomics, right? You know what? Well, actually, you know what PhD stands for real. Remember, Puff Daddy had it on one of his songs. Like, "Can't nobody hold me down" with Mace when he said, "You got a PhD, a play a hating degree." That's what a PhD is. In conclusion, you're turning gay. I mean, sometimes it happens. I feel like sometimes it happens. Like just people don't people get tired of the opposite sex because of look. I mean, if I had to give you a rundown of like my history with women, like it just couldn't be any more. I don't know. Like it can be convoluted at times, and I don't know. It's been a ride for me. Like probably it's but at the end, whether through the good and the bad, it all had a point in my life. I mean, that's the way to look at everything. Is just like, okay, this is happening to me for a reason. Like I've really honestly, I feel like when you when if you when you you're young, JJ, but like if you think back to like your through your life, you're like, oh, well, I did this happened, this happened, this happened. Oh, but then when this situation happened, like I knew how to handle it better because I had something like that happen in the past or something. Or because I gained this experience when this situation came up, like I knew how to approach it, or or I just have a different mindset on life in general, and it just changes the way you think about things. It makes you every little thing makes you better. Even if you had to fail to get there or you succeeded, all those things they matter. Whether you were 10, 18, 60, like all those things that happen throughout your life, like they all matter, and you just need to use them to your advantage. Hi, Mom and Chris. How are you? Deborah and Christopher. So JJ's turning gay. So that's what I got out of this. That's what I got out of this chat today. JJ's JJ's turning gay. And hey, like I said, to each their own, man. There's nothing wrong with being gay. Man, this cherry 7 Up is great. I bought some and put it in the freezer, make sure it was nice and cold. So when it came time to pour a couple glasses, it was nice and chill. You were in 7th grade when you first watched a stream. Now I'm graduated and have to do adult thing. I know, man. Right? It's crazy. You also hit new bench press, dude. I need to cut. I need to cut fat, man. I gained, dude. I gained so much weight. I think it's a combination of just because, like, I'm trying to say, wait, like, okay, when your girlfriend's not pregnant, when your girlfriend's not pregnant, and you're able to like go out and do stuff, and plus, COVID didn't help either, right? So I mean, COVID definitely didn't help because I didn't have to leave the house as much, or you couldn't. I couldn't leave the house as much, right? COVID didn't help, and then not going back to the office, made it just as bad. Um, can we see? Dude, look, all I can say is it's all in my stomach. It's all in the in where my abs should be. It's all in the gut. I went from 150, I weigh 170 now. I gained 20 pounds, man, like in a year. I am a fat fudge. That gut, I mean, that's the thing, dude, and I don't like that because, They always say that when you have all that stomach fat, that's what leads. That's almost a sure indication that like later in life you're gonna end up with like heart disease and you're subject to heart attacks and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I don't want to leave this life until I have possibly the opportunity to see my son have kids. I was chatting. He's sitting there. He was sitting there yesterday. He was laying down. I was changing his diaper, and I was having this discussion with him about, hey, you need to grow up and have kids. Well, it was because I was wiping him, and I was like saying, oh man, hey, look, your balls. And I'm just like, hey, I'm like, hopefully he's got our future grandkids in there. I was just, I say all sorts of crazy stuff to him, man. We have good conversations. He just sits there and laughs at me. Like, Dad, you're just so weird. You make no sense. Like, I'm 3 months old, and you're talking to me about having babies. No, but I was thinking, I was like, man, I'm like, if he waited as long as I did, I guess technically I didn't wait. I mean, I guess I just didn't have much of a chance or choice. But if it took him till 40 to have kids, I would be 80. So, or 81. Um, so that's not too bad. But 81 is pretty old for especially for a guy because men don't traditionally women live as long as women. And so men, the average lifespan is what, like 79 or something like that. So I may never see 81. So I'm like, dude, I'm hoping that you have kids before you're 40 because I may not have a chance to see them. My mom is fortunate in a sense because she had me when she was really young. She was 19. So for me waiting 40 years, okay, she's like in her 60s, right? So it's not like terrible. So she had a better chance, but like for me being at 40, like to see grandkids, that's I'm gonna die one day, so enjoy me while it lasts. You don't smoke or drink that much. Yeah, I guess I don't necessarily drink that much. Who is this girl on TV? I'm trying to figure out who this is. Why is she like so white? She looks like a She almost kind of looks like some girl I've seen on Snapchat, but it's definitely not her. But she looks like she's wearing like a white costume or something. Like she looks so pale. And she's got like black hair. Dove Cameron. Well, that I guess that explains it why her skin looks so damn white. Yeah, I don't normally drink that much anymore, really. I drink mostly like if I go to Browns games. Not because like whether it's win or lose, like I'm drinking anyway. I just it's good. Like drinking is good for me as it relates to being social. Um, that guy okay. Is your brother F? What? Gonna do season tickets next year? He asked me about it. He just said, "Hey, do we want to do that again next year?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know." The thing is that he wants to buy like so for him, I don't understand it. Like he wants to buy season tickets and you spend like $800 like per person on these season tickets and then he wants to give away all the ones that are to the cold games. And I'm like, dude, like that's like possibly yeah, that was 2019. I think 2018 or 20 I'm pretty sure it's 2019, but it could be 2018 2019 buddy. Yeah, that was Baker Mayfield's first start. Well, that was Baker Mayfield taking over for Tyrod Taylor for the Browns against the Jets. I'll never forget that. That was like such a classic moment in history. That's like half the season. I know. That's why I'm like, dude, like. And then he's always like, "Well, because I work outside," and it's like, look, it's hard for me to relate because I don't, and so like it's easy for me to kind of I guess, judge in a sense, like, oh, you're just being boring, you're just being a bum. And yeah, Tyrod Taylor, your former name. Um, but he's just like, oh, I'm outside all the time. And I just don't feel like being in the cold. And it's like, well, then why buy tickets? Like you're basically wasting. Like if you're basically throwing $400 away. And this year he was trying to sell some of them, but then he would like people weren't even buying them. And this was even back when we went to the against the Ravens at home, and he was trying to sell those originally, and no one would buy them, which that's usually kind of weird because for rivalry games, like usually you're gonna see more people there or have a better chance of getting tickets sold, but because of the cold and stuff like that, like, but I ended up going to that one. That was a good one to go see. I ended up taking Preston, I ended up taking Brian to go there. Brian went with me to the Ravens game. So Sean gave me his ticket. Or actually, no, that's right. He gave it to Tito. Then Tito ended up going with his wife because her family gave her tickets so that they could go. So then he gave the ticket back to me. And then last minute, I was able to ask Brian, and he was fortunately able to go with me. So I took Brian to the Ravens game with me. He's Danny Dimes' backup now. Is it all that okay? Yeah, so we briefly talked about season tickets. So I don't know, like, yeah, I don't care about weather either. I wanted to go to the one on Christmas Eve, but again, we could call it we could call it an excuse, but it really wasn't. I mean, after we had that crap with the power outage, go from Friday to Saturday, I just couldn't risk, um, leaving her, Angela, and Stefan home alone, and then me being at a football game, and then if the power goes out, I mean, yeah, I could have left the game and come back home, but it's like, why go through all that, right? I mean, especially since I was gonna be freezing my ass off anyways. I'm just like, I wouldn't want to like have to like walk back early and all that. It's just like, what was the point of going in the first place? So I'm just like, I just didn't go. I just couldn't, and I didn't even bother selling the tickets because no one's gonna buy them because it's so fucking cold. Like when you're talking about double digit negative feels like temperatures, and you're right on the lake where that wind is blowing, and where we sit, the wind's basically at our back. So I mean that shit's coming through, and you are turning into a fucking icicle real fucking quick. So man, I see people talking about like, oh, they need to trade Miles Garrett and all this, and I'm just like, dude, what the f, man? I don't understand where people come up with this stuff. The only thing I saw was on one of those YouTube shows. They have it's like called the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show or whatever, and they were saying something like, oh, they had an interview with Mary Kay Cabot, who's like, a reporter from around the area, and usually has like some of the best leads and the most relevant um, news related to the Browns. And they were asking her about like, oh, is Kevin Stefanski on the hot seat and all that stuff, and she's like, no, I think he'll get a pass this year because he only had 4 games with Deshaun, and one of them was the Ice Bowl, the other one was the return game, it was an emotional one, and so like you can't even really count those two, and so they're basically saying, well, the last 2 games of the season are the ones where you see like, okay, where are you at? Like, what do you got? If the Giants lose to the Colts tomorrow, the Giants seem like they had a pretty promising season to start, but they kind of fell off at the end. You know what? Who's seen this commercial? This commercial with I think it's Planet Fitness. The lady who starts, she's like cooking the hot dogs or whatever, and at the end she's like, "Oh, now I make better wieners or something." It's like, and everyone laughs. Like, what is this commercial? I don't understand it. Wonder if he's gonna ruin Deshaun like he ruined Baker. Oof. You know, man, I just wish that he would just. I just wish he would give over OC duties, man. Like let Alex Van Pelt, like let him call the offense and be done with it. because even Mary Kay said, yeah, he spends a predominantly most of his time focused on the offense when it comes to like during the week. So it's like, you need to be like, I feel like you need to be 50-50. You need to be equally as interested in both sides of the ball. And then you wonder why the defense is like, but the offense isn't like the offense is okay. Like the offense would survive without his involvement, I feel like. The defense sometimes, it's sketchy. You never know what kind of game you're going to get out of them. Like whether they're going to decide to tackle this game or um, actually play like some game. Like you just don't know what you're going to get with the defense. So I mean, but she was saying like she what they said that she said that Miles Garrett has such a he has such a big like impact or voice in the organization that when it comes to the off season, like Miles Garrett would be involved, Stefanski would be involved, the Hasms would be involved in talking about any type of potential coaching changes they would make, whether offensive or defensive or special teams, because a lot of people give Prefer a lot of crap, but and those guys on the sports show were also saying stuff about Prefer. They're like, well, he should have been like gone after last year, and she's like, well, they got Cade York, but then Cade York like is kind of inconsistent when it comes to kicking field goals, so like that may be enough to save his job because Cade York needs to like figure out how to kick better. And one of the guys on the show even suggested he's like, look, he's like, you've got like Phil Dawson, like a freaking legend around here that is available. Like, why isn't Cade York like just text Phil Dawson or call him up and be like, yo, dude, help me out? But a lot of people were proclaiming Cade York like the next Phil Dawson like, after the first game of the season, just because they beat the Panthers and he had that nice field goal. And I don't want to take credit away from the guy. It was a great individual effort on his behalf to make sure the team came away with a win. But there were times, and again, it wasn't completely his fault, but there were times where he was put in positions after that to be able to kick field goals that would have helped the team be in a better chance to win, and he just didn't come through. And it's like if you want to be proclaimed as a good kicker, field goal kicker in the NFL, then you need to make those key field goals. When the game's on the line, even if it has nothing to do with you, like offense had nothing to do with why they were behind or defense was playing good or not good. Like if you have a chance to kick a field goal and that's a difference of winning or losing a game, then you need to make that kick. I mean, that's the bottom line. So can please let Chad Henne beat them in the playoff. Oh God, stop it. That Chad Henne didn't really do shit though, technically, right? Texans need them higher picks. Stop it. Texans they ain't getting shit, JJ. I said your offense run by Marty Morningwig, Mark Smith, Gary Kubiak, Jim Cole, and I have to say this is the most wasted talent because of one man in franchise history. Wait, what do you mean, buddy? I love you too, JJ. Of course. I love you all. You're all my homies. Again, like I think about you guys, man. Like and it's kind of funny when you're Greg Roman. Oh, yeah, I thought I heard some grumblings about like Ravens fans chanting that. Although I think when they came to Cleveland, there were some Ravens fans there, and I heard some of those guys like bitching about um offensive coordinator and like they're like, why are you calling these plays and they're terrible? Like, what are they doing? Like, but that game was just cool though because I just remember sitting there. I was sitting there with my friend Brian, and we were watching, and I was like, man, because Tucker came out like a few times or whatever, and I was like, man, I'm like, the Browns should be able to block these field goals. It was like it would be nice if they could, but I'm like, I can't even remember the last time we've had a field goal block ever. Like, I'm like, usually it's their Browns field goals that are getting blocked, and Tucker missed the one, and I was like, whoa, like okay, I wasn't expecting that. And then they blocked the one. Actually, that was when I talked about. I kept talking about a block kick every time Baltimore went to kick a field goal, and they blocked that one. I was like, holy shit, they actually blocked one. We all need to meet up one day. Hey, I told Gamer, I mean, he's of age now. I mean, basically once you're out of high school, I mean, I don't see any potential issue with like being able to like go hang out or something. Now, granted, it's a little bit that's not even great either because it's not like you can go out to a bar or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, let me get you a drink or let's go out and have a drink somewhere or play some pool. It's like you can't really do stuff like that. I mean, I guess you go out and play pool, you just can't drink. So, but but I told Gamer, I said, yo, hey, like next time you because he has family in Columbus. So I said next time you're in Columbus, like let me know and maybe we can figure out a way where we can meet up for a little bit or something. But I'll drive down to Columbus just to say hi and hang out for a little bit. You can treat us a Top Golf. Yeah. Dude, Top Golf is fun. I'm so glad I went on Saturday and well, yesterday. And it was nice. It was really nice. It'd been like I don't even remember the last time I was there. Definitely before Stefan was born. I just don't remember how long ago before that I even went to Top Golf. I know I went that one time with my brother. I want to say it was like in May or something. I don't know. Like it was still nice out. I remember that. It was sometime in the summer. That's all I remember. I took a day off of work and my brother took a day off of work and we went to Top Golf and played there and then we went out to eat afterwards. The Winking Lizard, like it was a nice day. But he's probably gonna take me back to Top Golf for my birthday. So my birthday, as most of you may or may not remember, is on January 11th. Be your kiss for New Year's, or if you're feeling cheap, Giant Eagle. I would never do Giant Eagle. I'd never take anyone to Giant Eagle. The only thing I get at Giant Eagle, I mean, to be honest, and again, guys, this is a simple, I guess, life hack if you want to call it that. But look, if you have a girlfriend and you just want to do something nice for her, the simplest way to make it to light up a girl's face, get a smile, or even maybe a little tears of joy, just buy them some effing flowers. And you can buy flowers at Giant Eagle. And I know that may sound like weird, or like, huh, Giant Eagle, like what kind of flower? I mean, Giant Eagle usually has like a pretty good spread of flowers, like all sorts of types of bouquets and stuff like that. Like, Happy New Year to you too, Christopher. Um, leave your dishes and laundry to do. Oh man. Um, yeah, you just buy them some flowers, and you just know, just get an understanding of what kind of flowers they like. And if you don't know what kind of flowers they like, because maybe it's the first time you're buying them flowers, it's very difficult to go wrong with a dozen like roses, whether they're red or pink or yellow. Like if you at least have an idea of like what color she likes, then you can tailor roses to that within reason. But yeah, I mean, I usually just end up buying her flowers when I go to Giant Eagle by myself or even with her. I'm like, hey, the flowers are literally right there when you walk in the door at our Giant Eagle. So it's just like, oh, hey, look, here's some flowers. You want some? Or I'll see them and I'll just pick some for her and bring them home. Surprise! I can't imagine JJ, Marcus, and Trey all in the same room together. I feel like Marcus. Marcus reminds me of one of those people that I feel like Marcus is gonna have a good life. I think Marcus is like, and again, I don't know how he is in person. Like if he's shy in person, I don't necessarily get that feeling, but he could be. Some people are different online than they are in person. I'm certainly one of them. I'm not like the type of person like if I'm in a party or whatever. If I'm in a room full of people that I've never ever met, I'm not going to be the guy who's going to go up to everyone and say, "Hey, how are you doing?" Like what, I want to get to know you. Like, what do you do? Like, I'm not that guy. I'm not a conversation starter. But if someone comes up to me in a party like that and they start talking to me, then I'll start talking to them. And if they bring someone else in, they'll start talking to them. I need to get comfortable with people first before I just start chatting. So I'm not like the conversation guy, but Marcus kind of seems to me like he might be, but he could just be that way like online and not actually that way in person. Or he's that way with his friends, but then around people you don't know, maybe not so much. But I don't know. I feel like if it were all of us together, it's like being amongst friends. So it's not like anyone's really a stranger at that point, other than it's like, hey, I may have seen what you look like at some point in the past, but I'm not really sure. It's like you're kind of getting past the surprise of like, wow, ooh, you look different in person, or this is what you really look like, or whatever. You get, you kind of get past that part, but then after that, it's like, you almost know like a lot of history about each other just from being in the same, chat together for so long. I wonder how many communities like. I mean, I'm sure like certainly there's bigger communities than this, but I wonder how many communities you have online where people are that like seemingly close, where they would even be considering like, hey, let's meet up somewhere and go hang out and chill. Yeah, I was thinking I can't remember how long ago this was. I was just thinking recently though that Likings guy, if you guys remember that, the guy who was like telling those little kids like, "Hey, let me come to your house, or why don't you come over and we can talk, or I can listen to you talk, or whatever." We mass reported that dude, and he ended up getting his channel banned on YouTube. Oh man, that was crazy. That was some good stuff. Mark is probably gonna be president one day by accident. He's gonna be in Puerto Rico. Just kidding. I don't know. It was interesting to see Puerto Rico on they had Puerto Rico on the New Year's Eve show. I think it's a little weird they call it Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve still, considering the guy's been dead for like what 5 years now or more. So it's like it's basically Ryan Seacrest's New Year's Rockin' Eve. And I don't really know why they haven't changed the name of the show. I mean, obviously it's sort of a tribute, and I get all that, but like I think it's kind of ridiculous that it's still named after him, because people were like, well, why is it? Yeah, I'm sure like especially newer generation of people, if you're not used to watching New Year's shows, you're like, who the hell's Dick Clark? Oh yeah, he's the guy who died like 10 years ago. Well, why the hell is the show named after him? It's like, I don't know. I think it's weird. But then you see Brian Seacrest, and you're like, man, you're kind of old. You might kick the can soon. I'm just kidding. He's not that old. But he definitely looks old, that's for sure. When they mentioned New Edition singing on stage, I was like, New Edition? I'm like, okay, this can't be the New Edition that I know of. And I didn't really know many of their songs. I knew of one, well, actually two of their songs, which neither of them they sang tonight. But I was thinking, oh, I'm like, this can't be the New Edition that I know of from like the 90s. This has to be like some other white people group that's called New Edition or something. And then there was like the group of black guys. I was like, oh shit, it's actually like legitimately New Edition. Like, how did that happen? I was kind of like thinking to myself, could you not find anyone else? Like, what was up with like even Duran Duran? Like, could you not find anyone else for New Year's Eve? Like, did no one want to go out there? Like, I mean, you've had Mariah Carey in the past, on your stage twice, and then you go from like that to like Duran Duran and freaking New Edition. I don't know. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I like that they did Poison, which I thought was kind of weird though, because that wasn't their song. So I don't know how they managed to pull that off, but they sang it, and I thought, okay, well, that's kind of neat. You could be wrong. You don't think anyone actually watches for the music? Well, I mean, they're trying to put on some form of entertainment, but I was wondering, like, who even knows who in this audience even knows who New Edition is? That's like my first question. Like, especially because every time you see them pointing to people in the audience, usually it seems to be younger people. So it's like, okay, New Edition was from the 90s, so anyone who's like 20 or yeah, anyone who's like 20 or younger than 30, basically, I don't think they're gonna know who New Edition even is. They're gonna be like, "Who the hell? I don't know. Who is this?" Like, I've never heard of this group in my life, and it's like, well, because that was '90s music. Andy Cohen didn't get drunk this year, yeah, but did you see they said that they told him they're not allowed to? And then Ryan Seacrest, I saw there's some article about it where Ryan Seacrest even said like, "Oh, well, that's good that they shouldn't do that anyway or whatever." Like, because they said they were upset that they were getting like drunk basically live on TV or something. And it's just like, I mean, whatever. Like, let people be people. Like, you know what? Like, whether you want to consider it professional or not and all that stuff. Like, I get it's a business, so I mean, technically, CNN can tell them to do whatever the hell they want to do. Like, hey, Anderson Cooper, you're gonna let this guy like give it to you on stage. That was the best part. I mean, it's just like, but I'm kind of surprised that Duran Duran did "Hungry Like the Wolf." I'm just like thinking, like, dude, this was God. That was also '90s too, right? Like, why? Yeah, why did they go '90s? I feel like today with the music. I mean, and then they have Sierra. What she was definitely obviously well after a little bit after the '90s, but still, it's like I'm just wondering how many people like knew like who these people were. So I don't know. Anyways, so guys, what is everyone planning on doing for this new year? Like, is everyone like happy that 2022 is out of the way? What did you like about 2022? Like, what will you remember about 2022? Let's put it that way. How about does everyone have something positive they'll remember about 2022? And does anyone have anything they're looking forward to in this coming year? Hey, you guys want any free food and shelter? Come on, act like you know the bands. Okay. I mean, they got groupies, man. I'm sure, like, although again, I don't even know who. It's like their groupies would be like 40 years old. They'd be as old as me. Like, we don't want no old chicks. Like, they all have babies and stuff already. Like, forget them. We don't need that crap. Oh, this 7 Up is getting warm. Man, it's almost been an hour. It's 1:30. Yeah, Angela asked me what time I was coming to bed, and I said, yeah, probably not too long, but after she went to bed. But you graduated high school, kind of want to save up money this year from your own apartment. Smart. Well, someone said in a family chat, of course my mom chimed in, but someone said in a family chat like, "Oh, 2022 was stinks or whatever and all this stuff." And I said, "Hey, I'm like, look, we at least dodged having Donald Trump as president again or something." In 2022, my mom goes, "No politics or whatever," and it's just like, well, I mean, I was just kind of just trying to be funny, really, but for me, I want to try to get like I need to go through some. Well, I finished some of that training at the end of last year, but I want to try to get certified in some things if I can. So there's that, but 2023 can start off real well if the Giants win tomorrow. Come on, man. Like you got to go beyond that stuff. Like I honestly I feel like I eventually realized that it's just like, you know what? You're going to hang out in my basement in 2023. Yeah, it's a possibility. I mean, I think I did mention that to Angela, and she was like, "It's like I'm like, hey, I got a basement. Like, it works." Your mom was diagnosed with cancer 2020, but she beat it in 20. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Well, that's good. That's a good story. What a dumb commercial. um, gosh. But yeah, so this year I want to get certified in a couple of things, and I got to take tests to do that, and I'm actually really nervous about it because I'm terrible at test taking. I've always been terrible at test taking. Like I could like even in this all goes back to school. Like in school, I could feel so confident coming to a class, having prepared for taking a test, and I would like constantly bomb tests. Like there was something about test taking that I just was not good at, and so I'm like terrified of taking these tests. And honestly, what scared me even more was because so in this class in this training, what they would do is in certain sessions they would do like a kind of like a quiz, and usually there'd be like 8 or 9 questions, but they would everyone would answer at the same time, and then they would see okay what percentage of the class got them right, who got them wrong, you know, why were these answers right, why were these ones wrong, and they would go through and explain all that, which was good because if you got something wrong, then at least you knew why you got it wrong, and they would explain why the other answers were right, and then you understood okay this is why that made sense. Even if the answers didn't make sense, you at least knew why they were saying they made sense. Well, they were doing that at the beginning of the class. Then in the last week, apparently people were saying on the feedback that they were submitting that the questions they were asking in class were too easy. So then for the last week of class, they were like, okay, we're gonna do like these more difficult. We're just gonna have more difficult questions. And it's like I felt like I was getting a little bit more out of that when they asked the more difficult questions. But it's like, why weren't you doing this all along? Like that was really frustrating because it's like you're thinking, oh, these are kind of like some of the questions that you could expect to find on their exam, and like those questions they were asking, chances are like hardly any of them will be on the exam because they're just too easy. And it's like, why why would you waste my time then? Like I thought you're supposed to be trying to train me and prepare me to take this exam. Well, where do you think you want to travel to? In Among Us, man, I can't even honestly. I don't even. So aside from mobile games, I feel like it's just easier to play mobile games for me now. I remember, I feel like you guys may remember back in the day when you guys were talking about like mobile games. I'm like, Psh, like I don't play shit on my phone. Like I don't do mobile games because I got like an Xbox and all that stuff. And now I feel like the phone having a mobile game on a phone is just more convenient because one, you always have your phone with you, and two, you always have your phone with you. No, just kidding. Well, especially like when I'm watching Stefan, like I have my phone with me. I can't necessarily just always turn on the Xbox or make noise or like I can have my phone upstairs while I'm watching him while I'm waiting to fall asleep or something, or it's just or when I'm at work, like I can at least bring my phone up and that's my opportunity to play. But one of the things I've been trying to do is cut down on my amount of I spent so much time on my phone. And that's one thing I know is a frustration point for Angela. She's like, "You're always on your phone. You're always on your phone." 2 weeks ago, I don't know when they did it. At some point, there was an update to the Android phones where they installed an app that's called like Digital Wellbeing, and it sends me a report like every Sunday night or Monday morning. I get like a little notification that says like, "Hey, you use your phone for X hours or minutes, like more or less compared to last week." So that's actually pretty good. I mean, I saw that the one day and I was like, man, it's like, how much time did I spend? Because remember, it said you use your phone like 2 more hours than you did last week or whatever. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna try to cut back. So then the one week I tried to cut back, I got an alert at the end of the week saying use your phone 5 hours and 14 minutes less than you did the prior week. And I was like, 5 hours. I'm like, holy shit, that's a lot of time. Like because I was trying to avoid like when we're sitting in the living room like watching TV or whatever. Like I tried to like I just said, you know what, put the phone to the side, don't bring up the phone. So that way like it was evident that like I was engaged in conversation or it was true family time and not just like, well, it's family time, but I'm kind of on my phone and sort of paying attention. Um, so I did that, and then last week it said like I cut back by another like hour or something. So, and I feel like I'm still on my phone quite a bit, which is weird, but like I have managed to cut back on the amount of time I've been on my phone. So, but it's hard because I like occasionally I'll see ads for apps that I'm like, oh, this would be a fun game or whatever, and I even had an idea for a website, and I'm just like, dude, I don't have time for any of this stuff. Like, I don't have the time, and frankly, like to some extent, like I barely have the energy, and it's not necessarily because of Stefan or anything like that. But honestly, I feel like because I when I gained that extra weight, like that doesn't help. But I understand now why, like, and I don't mean to offend anyone, but now I understand why fat people get fat because and why it becomes progressively harder to lose weight because I'm like, man, I'm like, I feel like, and again, this is just from my experience because my frame was not intended to support a large person. Like, I have a very small frame. And so for me to weigh 170 is like, it's like killing me to weigh this much. That 20 extra pounds is a huge difference. But then, like, I'm like walking and I'm like, man, my feet hurt more, I feel like. I get tired easier. I have less energy. Like I'm just like it's just easier to not do anything. And so I'm like, now I understand like why like it's kind of easy to lose control of yourself because things become progressively more difficult and then it's just easier to like avoid them. Like oh my feet hurt, so I'll just no, I don't see, dude. I don't eat that much though. I mean, that's the thing is, I don't even know like how the hell I managed to gain fat other than well because one I mean I guess let's be real like the facts are I'm 41 gonna be 42 so one I'm sure you guys seen those kind of hilarious commercials with Frank Thomas and all that stuff but I mean that's just real the crap about like your testosterone levels get lower and like your metabolism slows down when you get older so if you're not active which I'm not all I do is I sit at a fucking computer all day. And then when I'm not sitting at a computer, I'm just sitting in the living room watching a baby or something. So it's like I don't do anything. I don't exercise. I don't work out. We don't go to a gym. Like it's not like we're leaving the house every day. We literally have nowhere to go. Like, every once in a while, I'll go see my brother. Actually, just for Browns games is when I've been going out. So I don't even go out every week. I don't go see my mom anymore in the mornings. Like, a lot of things changed when we had the baby. Yes, steroids is the only answer. Just say trend. What the heck is trend? Well, so what I was trying to start doing is I was getting some stuff set up downstairs in my basement so that I can go back to doing my the MBF, the muscle burns fat thing. Like a while I did a like last year sometime actually in October, I think it was, or before October actually. Um and at least I can do something to get me active. And I started doing it last week, actually. I stopped because I don't know, something came up like, I don't know, it was because between starting vacation and like trying to help like take care of Stefan a little bit more because I was on vacation, like the exercise thing fell to the side. Trying to steroid? No, I'm not taking steroids, dude. Plus, Angela, she would never accept that shit. I mean, her thing is like she's like, just cut out the sugar, eat clean, and you're good. That's actually the other thing I was starting to work on too. Is instead of, and again, I know this is minor stuff, but it's the only thing I can think of to do because I don't really drink that much when I'm at home. Like I don't drink like um I've been so I started drinking these things. It's called water drop. I think it was what it was called. So it's basically like one of those like little square things that are have like natural flavors in them. They're not they don't have electrolytes, but they're basically just flavored cubes that have like they're no sugar in the drinks, and they're supposed to be like 100% like um clean, like no like manufactured like processed shit in there. You just drop them in your water. They flavor your water a little bit where it's not like it's not doesn't taste sugary, but it's supposed to prevent you from having cravings for sugar because I just love sugar. I'm like sugar's like my crack. And so that is like the one thing I've been trying to cut out. So I try not to eat like that much sugar. I instead of like just dumping a bunch of creamer in my coffee. So I one thing I paid attention to was so when I get my coffee in the morning, I would just dump like coffee creamer in there. And then the one day I was like, man, I need to actually pay attention to like how many calories are in there or whatever. And it was like, oh, 30 calories per tablespoon. And I'm like, shit, how much coffee creamer I was dumping in. I'm like, it was probably like over 200 calories just for coffee creamer in the morning for my coffee because I wasn't measuring it out. So now, like every when I do my coffee, I take a teaspoon of sugar and I take 2 teaspoons, which would be a tablespoon of my creamer, and so I cut it down to now like now I know I'm getting like 30 calories or 20 calories per 2 cups of coffee I drink. I'm not just like kind of winging it and just dumping it in there because I would just dump it in there because I wanted it to taste good. And that's my problem is that I love sweet tasting things. And so sugar is definitely my Achilles heel and I needed to cut back on that. So I started measuring out like my um creamer and all that stuff and because really that's all I drink. Like honestly, it's just like it's my coffee in the morning and then then I would drink like hot cocoa and stuff too. So I'm like so that's why I got the water drop stuff because I'm like if I can drink water that's flavored, then hopefully it'll at least like give me something to drink to quench my thirst that's like good enough to pass for a replacement of like just drinking a bunch of sugary shit. I mean, hot cocoa is probably like some of the worst things you could drink if you're trying to, cut back on sugar. So I try to cut back on hot cocoa for sure. I stopped drinking like my eggnog because that has a bunch of sugar in it and stuff, and so I had a container of eggnog I bought. I didn't even drink like half of it because I was just like I'm trying to like cut it out. So I mean, between that and like exercising, I think that's good. And Angela, she's into like making shakes. Chewing gum helps. Yes, I do chew gum. Like it's chewing gum's good for anxiety as well. Actually, it gives you something to focus on. I do it for I guess kind of for that, but also because I just like yeah, it gives you the idea that you're like eating or something too. I mean, that's kind of prevents like maybe stress eating, which I feel like is another thing that I started doing is I feel like I'm hungry all the time, and so I would just eat. And I'm like, well, am I really hungry or was I just really thirsty? Because there's that you can get the whole debate of they say if you're hungry, you should make sure you drink water first because it may just be that your body just needs to be your body's like dehydrated and you need liquid, you need fluid in your body. So you do that first before you eat. That way you know if you're actually hungry. Um, but I'm not big on. I've never been big on drinking water. I've always just drank other stuff. So I don't know. Like, so I'm trying to like figure all this stuff out, and I think I've got at least a plan. I told Angela, I said, okay, after vacation's over, like on Monday, well, starting tomorrow technically. Um, so actually Monday. Guys, I need to get back doing the exercise thing downstairs in the basement. And it's easy though because it's like 45 minutes. They're 45-minute sessions, if that. And it's like weight train. The lady does like a lot with like weights. So it's good. I mean, so it's not just like, cardio stuff and you're not using weights for anything. Most of the exercises use weights. So you're trying to build muscle and that's the whole point of the program is if you build some muscle and you manage your diet appropriately, then that'll help build muscle, which will help burn the fat. Honestly, you even got to eat good to have a decent body, just work out. Well, I know, dude. I mean, that's she seems to think like, oh, well, you're just you don't eat like organic enough and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, dude, look, I just feel like if I just did anything, I could get back in shape. I just need to move, and that's my thing is I don't move at all. I don't do anything. So I'm like, I can't just remain stagnant. It's like I have to actually do something. I need to get up off my ass and move around and stuff. So I think my goal for this year is I need to get back down to 150. Like 170, it's too much for me. My feet hurt. My feet hurt exercising even. Like it's terrible. I feel I have like no energy. I mean, not that I necessarily had energy when I was at 150, but like I feel like it's worse now. Like I really don't have any energy. I feel drained, tired all day. Like it's terrible. I don't want to feel like this for the rest of my life. So I can't, like I said, my frame was not built to handle 170. Maybe you got to buy better shoes. Well, there may be that too, but I've had the same. I've been buying those same shoes for years. I've never had issues with like my feet. But now all of a sudden, like I'm starting to feel like pain in my arches and stuff like that, and that's not normal. I've never had that for all the years. Like I've been buying these shoes for like over a decade now. Like, so now all of a sudden, like my feet are hurting. I don't know. 170, I wish. What do you wish? You wish you weighed 170? I figured at least like, okay, by weighing more, if I go to build muscle, then I'll have a little bit more body to work with. Um, the scary part is when you go and step on that, that I can't remember if you guys remember that scale I bought. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago, but it hooks up to an app on the phone. So I can go all the way back to the point where I first bought that scale and see how much I weighed. And so I can go over like the past like I've had it for at least 2 years. I go back every time I weighed myself and it recorded, here's how much you weighed, here was your BMI, here was your, percentage of fat and muscle and all these different things that measures for you. The first time I stepped on my scale after a while, and it's done this before in the past, like because if your weight fluctuates too much, it like it's like, are you sure this is even the same person? Like literally, it asks you that as you're weighing yourself. It says, "Are you sure this is the right profile for this person?" Because like, it's surprised that your weight is that much different. It did that for me, and I'm just like, dude, like, how is that supposed to make me feel any better about myself? Like that just makes me feel worse. Like, are you sure this is the same person? Now, granted, if it was the opposite, where I weighed less and I stepped on and you asked me that question, then great. But when you weigh like 20 pounds more or 10 pounds more than the last time you weighed yourself, and it's like, are you sure this is still you? Like, it's tragic. So yeah, so I've got some physical things to work on this year. That's gonna be like one of my main goals. I started it. I want to definitely finish it. But Angela, she makes like shake. She's in all those shakes and stuff like that, which is perfect because that's part of what that program calls for is like just a sensible diet, but also they talk about like those shakes, and so she makes shakes every day for herself usually, and or smoothies, not shakes, smoothies, and she puts in like protein powder, and she was I think I mentioned this in the past. She was a trainer uh not too long ago. So I mean, she knows all about like nutrition, and she knows about proper training, and you know the right motions to make, and if you're squatting wrong, or all that kind of stuff. Like she knows about all that crap. So I mean, she's like the perfect person in theory to help me with all this. But she makes the shakes, and so I'll just be like, hey babe, can you like make me a shake, and it's just like, okay, what do you want in there? Like blueberries, like mango. Like she always has like this frozen fruit that she buys. You should lose. Well, yeah, you'd think that too, Donovan, but it's weird because like when you live with someone, how does it go? Like I feel like if you have something in front of you that's easily available, for some reason it seems like it's more difficult to utilize that like resource or help than it is to like go outside of your comfort zone to find it. I don't know what it is, but or maybe it's just me. I've always seemed to have that issue. Like you could have the answer right in front of you, but like you're just like, no, that's too easy. Or it's because of someone you live with. Like if you're because I'm in a relationship with her, if you have a disagreement, then it's kind of like, well, shit, that kind of affects your relationship too. That's not just like some beef that you may have with your personal trainer. That's what she was. She was a personal trainer, but it's like you have beef with that person you're in a relationship with, so that's kind of a different thing. Like, and plus, like they potentially take it easier. They go lighter on you because you're not just like a client. You're a significant other. You know what I'm saying? Like you're the father of my child, so how hard am I really going to push you? So that's where we've been talking about going to gyms and stuff, but the hard part, got beef with this girl. Yeah, the hard part about going to a gym now is that now we got a kid. There's not a lot of gyms that do like the daycare thing where you can just like give your kid to someone, and if they do, it's usually like of course, like our son's just over 3 months old, so it's like there's not too many that are going to take a kid that young and be able to, they got to be able to feed him a bottle. And, you know what I'm saying? Like there's gyms aren't going to do all that shit. So then we have to consider babysitters, and if we're gonna have someone in the family who's available, or if we have to hire someone, how long we're gone, how much we have to pay them. Like babysitters aren't cheap anymore. Um, go to Planet Fitness. Well, I mean, we were talking about it, but the thing is that Planet Fitness doesn't have, at least the ones over here, they don't have the daycare or whatever. I don't think. I'm almost certain they don't, because I remember she said she was looking, but I don't think Planet Fitness has or if they do, it's like only during certain hours or something like that, and like kids have to be a certain age range. But I'm pretty sure Planet Fitness doesn't. They do not have childcare, so that's what makes that one complicated. Because again, then we have to find babysitters and all that kind of stuff. So, I think FitWorks is one that does have some form of childcare, but again, I think theirs is like only during a certain time, and your child has to be like a certain age range or something. And so, yeah, we started looking into gyms like over a month ago. You didn't know gyms offered stuff. Well, I mean, you almost kind of have to if you want to be competitive, right? Because then, like, well, people who have kids, like especially single parents, like, what the hell are you gonna do with your kid, right? I mean, with as much as you pay for gym memberships, it's like shit. That's the least you could do. It's like take care of my kid for me for a little bit. But yeah, so yeah, we were talking about that. I mean, I don't know, but she's so tired, every day from doing everything that, and then that was like kind of like the ultimate deciding factor is, she's so tired that she never want to do anything. Yeah, that is, well, I mean, that is a concern, is also is handing your kid over to a stranger. But so we went to Trans Siberian Orchestra. We went and saw them on Friday. That is literally the first time since he was born that her and I have both been away from him at the same time. I mean, now granted, it doesn't seem like, I know in a scheme of things it's not that much time, but think about it. Like That's over 3 months that you are around your kid who's like crying or for food or you know what I'm saying? Like it's just that stuff gets tiring and you just kind of need a break. And she was like, she's of course she's like all worried. I'm just like, and she that was what she left him. We gave him to her brother and her sister-in-law, and even then she was still worried. She was just like, oh God, like he's gonna be alone. He doesn't have mommy and daddy. And it's just like I'm like, babe, like let's just enjoy ourselves, man. Like it's we haven't been able to leave the house without having to worry about how you're gonna breast pump or bottle feed or taking a freaking taking a diaper bag with us and all that stuff is just like we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And we get like 5 hours or whatever to ourselves to just go be happy and do whatever the hell we want and not worried about having to drag a baby around with us. Like that's great. And she kind of felt bad. And I'm like, don't feel bad. It's like you have to have that break. If you have to like break away from something to realize how much you enjoy it. I'm like you'll appreciate them that much more when you see them again. But yeah, that was kind of rough because even as we got closer and closer to leaving, I wasn't initially feeling that way, but when we got closer and closer, I was starting to like almost I was starting to actually kind of get nervous too. I was like, "Oh God, like yeah, we're like well, like someone's going to be responsible for watching my son." But so I was starting to get a little anxious about it as well eventually, but not nearly as much as her. Oh, so did you guys, for some reason, just seeing this random guy on TV just gave that just reminded me of this. Did any of you guys see that the new the advertisement for the new House Party movie with LeBron's thing? That every time I sent it to my brother because he said he hadn't seen it, but that just cracks me up. The where they're like, oh, like is that the Miami ring? Because he didn't deserve that shit. It was like, oh, that's awesome. Or like when he has the hologram, oh, you handled the decision to leave to Miami like perfectly. that was that was pretty funny. I enjoyed that commercial. It's like, oh man, he's got a hologram to make himself feel better, like to tell him like he's doing the right things. I thought that was pretty good. I don't think I'd go see the movie. I just thought that the clips they showed were pretty funny. But then everyone seems to be complaining about. They're like, "Oh, please don't let LeBron remake any more movies or something." It's like, okay, I guess. I mean, oh man. So Melinda's supposed to be moving back in her house. I think she was. She said something about. I'm pretty sure she meant like yesterday. This pat like on Saturday. I thought she was supposed to be doing something. She said she was going to be there, but she never texted me like that she was there. She said something about like, "Hey, like let's oh look, we need a moderator here." Actually, no, that's easy. Oh, go to hell. Oh my God, yes, free girls, free girls. Hey, I got a baby though. I got a baby, man, so I don't need your free girls. Your free girls are terrible. Don't advertise your trashy ass hoes up in here. How are they free? How are they free girls? Are all girls free? Technically, I mean somehow. I mean unless you're those kind that like to pay for them. I mean then that's but I mean I guess technically either way you're paying for them. Let's put it that way. Either way you're paying for them. Because if you're not paying for them for like per hour, then once they're living with you, then you're paying to go out to dinners and groceries and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you're technically paying for them that way, and that's a longer commitment. So if you don't like spending money, then you probably don't want to. And you're a guy, you probably don't want to have a girlfriend. You're better off just paying for the hourly rate. uh, my brother posts all that stuff on Facebook about stuff like that. Like, and I don't know. Like, maybe it's just me, and I understand everyone's entitled to their own opinion, of course, but I certainly disagree a lot with his opinions. But man, he has such a low opinion of women. I mean, I get it, but there was someone from my family posted something the other day on Facebook. I can't remember what it was. It was like, I swear it was something about being engaged or something. I can't remember. I just remember his comment was something like, "Well, it's cheaper to not like have them," and he said, "Oh, at least they don't talk back or something." It's just like, what the heck? Like, my brother worries me sometimes, but like I don't know. I just feel like for some reason I've always felt like as a guy, your whole purpose in life is to like grow up, get married, have kids, have a family, hopefully have some boys, raise your kids to be better than you were, and try to help make sure that they're successful in life, and be a good father, be a good husband, and all that kind of stuff. Like to me, that's like the purpose of a guy. So whenever I hear guys like, oh, I don't like women, not like I don't mean like like okay they're gay or that kind of thing. I'm just saying like guys who are not gay and they just have like a terrible perspective of women or how they treat women or talk about women, and it's like why like is he misogynistic? Um, no, like I think his opinion of women got worse once he got married and divorced. His opinion of women got worse. But, like I know it's hard to do, but if you've ever been like and for me, I guess I only have like the last like few years to really reflect upon for this. But like if you date like let's say in the same I guess it doesn't really matter, like how many years or whatever. If you date women, if you date more than one woman, for example, so let's say you dated two women, you had with woman A, you had like a certain experience. Woman B, you have a certain experience. Well, normally they say, okay, just because like if something happened with woman A that you consider like tragic, not like they died, tragic. I'm saying like if something like they cheated on you or they broke your heart, they did something that was just like way out of the ordinary and it just really hurt you for whatever reason. Like you don't go into relationship B or date woman B with the idea that they're going to do that to you. Now, granted, at the same time, you kind of have that in the back of your mind or in the back of your heart, like, hey, just be careful this time because you never know. This happened to me before. So you kind of watch out for that stuff. But like the it's like hitting the reset button. You don't drag that stuff from the first relationship over and just assume that this other person is going to be as bad as what you had in the first time around. So once he got married and he went through all the stuff that he went through when he was married and then finally, ended up getting divorced and all that stuff, like he just honestly, like in my opinion, I don't think he ever fully recovered from that. That's just my opinion. I don't think he fully ever recovered from that. He didn't really sit there and like talk to someone about it or and he's not like a feelings guy. He's not someone who's going to go to a therapist and talk out his feelings because that's just not who he is. I feel like because of his past experience, and I don't think it's probably not just him. I mean, I'm sure other guys, some other guys may feel the same, but like I think certain guys feel like if you talk about your feelings, then that's kind of like you're kind of emasculating yourself in a sense. Like that's more of a feminine thing, you know. It's but if you ever really want to have great connections with women, you have to be able to talk about your feelings. You have to be able to talk about their feelings. You have to be able to talk about your feelings. That is the way you truly connect with women because women are feelings based, you know. And if you don't know how to communicate your feelings or don't want to, you're never going to have a good experience with women because then you're just some guy who's just like a dude. So, but you know, he doesn't like talk about feelings. He would probably never go see a therapist to talk about them. I just don't think he ever got past all of that. And so now, like anytime just thinking about a woman, Happy New Year, JJ, yay! Wait, that was 15 minutes ago, bro. Where'd you go for 15 minutes? Why is Ronda Rousey in this one show that I'm watching? When the hell did she go on a TV show and she's like a paramedic? This is random. You had to take your first shit of the new year. Congratulations! It better have been a good one. If it wasn't one that wrapped around the toilet, then it wasn't worth it. He probably needs a therapist. I mean I really think he does, but he'll never do it because I think like that one that for him it's like oh well if I tell someone I mean if I ever told someone that I was seeing a therapist and that means I know I'm confirming or acknowledging that I have issues. You took a picture, you'll send it to me. All right, sounds great. Um, it better look like Randy's from South Park, otherwise it's not even worth sending me the picture. We can't call Guinness and talk about it. Yeah, I don't know, and that's the thing. Like I love my brother, I care about my brother, and I guess that's why it upsets me so much when he says certain things, even if on Facebook, and even if it's kind of trying to be funny. But it's just like I just don't like when people talk about women like they're just objects. Now I know as guys, it's hard to like not sometimes think of women as objects in a sense, but because guys are, you know, again, guys are sexual beings. So I mean, that's what guys do is like you're thinking about like sex, like that's you know, it's but that's how guys connect. You know, that's how guys connect with women is through passion, sex, you know, whatever. Guys are sexual beings, women are feelings. So you need to have all that together. Now they are. Wait, what? Better than keeping it bottled up. Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, I wish he would do that because I remember I think his wife at the time was trying to get him to go see a therapist, and they were trying to dig into his past. And as soon as they started digging into his past, and he was basically like, "Okay, nope, I'm done." And it's like, well, you know, if you don't ever like rip off the band-aid and really like heal from maybe some bad things that happened back in your you know back in the day like you're never you know you've never really cured anything, you're just kind of masking issues. I'm not even sure what I'm watching. This is like some random show that's on. Actually, I'm gonna turn this off because it's not even. Is he older? He's just 1 year younger than me. I'm the older brother, so I'm the one who got the majority of the ass whoopings when we were kids. If someone did something bad, then I was the one always getting in trouble. He would never get in trouble, like hardly ever. He could do no wrong. I feel like sometimes. I mean, that's actually another like that's a whole different thing. This is like a therapy session right here. Got to knock some sense into him. Yeah. Well, it's hard because if someone doesn't looks like those whippings didn't work. No, that was on me though. I got my ass whooped. I did pretty good for myself. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't do good for himself either. Don't get me wrong. He's not like some. He had some challenges in his life that he created for himself. Um, but ultimately, he got past all that, and he's a productive member of society. He's not like mentally handicapped or anything like that. But um, he is different than me for sure, and he's everyone's got their own fair share of issues. Let's just put it that way. It's just I just want him to like be looking out for himself. But I also, like I said, I just don't like when people like disparage women and just talk bad about women or people in general. It's just maybe he gets jealous when he sees a successful relationship because this didn't work out. Could be. I'm still shocked you have one eye. And you're still thinking about that? Yeah, I can't remember. I told you guys that. I almost didn't forget. See this one right here? It's the one that doesn't move. See this one? It's moving left to right when I turn. The other one does not. That's how you know. I've got my eye on you, JJ. Maybe he's on the spectrum. I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't know. I had been thinking about like coming on here and streaming when I can, but every time I go to do it, then I'm just like, well, but then I gotta go, then I gotta watch Stefan, and I don't want to do because it's I don't want to stream if he's up, then it's kind of hard to stream because it's not like you can guarantee that like, okay, well if he gets hungry, well I need to go make a bottle, so then I'm having to like carry him around or carry you guys around, and I'm just like I'm not doing all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just too complicated. You never know what will happen when you have a kid, so you just can't like guarantee that okay I'm going to have like an hour of like uninterrupted you know time. I can't do it when I'm working although sometimes I'd like to. So I mean that so again it's just then I just basically just run out of time because anytime I'm not working then I'm spending with my family, and then or the time I do have available is after he goes to bed, which is after 11 o'clock at night. So depending upon how late most of you guys are up, then like streaming after 11 o'clock at night is not exactly you know the best option for most people because I know everyone wakes up in the morning and has to go to work or school or whatever, and so it's just I just say well 11 o'clock is too late. So but I figured today was good because I knew people would most likely be up anyway. So this is a good time. Well, I mean, yeah, today it is, but you did a good job playing it off for years. Wait, what? Playing what off for years? Oh, the eye thing. Yeah. Well, I mean, I did that at work. Like, no one at work knows that. I mean, unless no one's ever. Well, I had one person at work ask me, and this was like a contractor, and this was like a long time ago. I remember him saying like, "Hey, do you have like a lazy eye or something?" Like he asked me, and I was just like thinking like, you don't ask anyone that. Like, why does it matter? Why is that your business? You know what I'm saying? Like literally no employee at work has ever asked me anything about my eye. Never. And this one guy comes along and he's just like one of these people who are just like he was just obnoxious. But then he asked me that and I'm just like thinking like what is your business? But I mean I gave him an answer. I didn't like I wasn't an ass to him or anything, but he's just one of those people that would just annoy me and annoy other people as well. Like this guy, he would literally sit there. So this was back in the time where, well, of course we were in office, but years ago, I would have like two or three people standing at my desk, and um, he would be sitting there going, like he'd sit like three desks behind me, like a whole different set of cubicles, and he'd be like, "Hey Steve, hey Steve, hey Steve," like he'd be shouting my name, and it's like, dude, I got all these people at my desk. Like, can't you see I'm busy? Like, but he would just sit there and call my name, and it's like, dude, that's annoying. Like, go away. Like, you obviously can tell that I'm busy when your son wakes up. Well, I had one morning. I don't know how this happened. I told my mom about it, and of course she was just like, "Oh, you should go get a um, God, what is it? What are they called? Fuck. Oh, whatever, an eye doctor basically, but like one that specializes with false eyes, prosthetic eyes. Um, she's like, "Oh, you need to call this doctor, and you may need to get your eye polished, or all this different stuff because you haven't had that done in years." And so she was like, she was like really like worried about it, or maybe a lot more freaked out about it than I was. I was freaked out because it never happened before. But I woke up one morning and I stretched and I did something weird where I kind of like had my eye open or closed or something. I rubbed my eye, and when it gets dry, like my eye tends to like kind of stick to like the surrounding skin or whatever, like even on the inside, like it just gets so dry. Well, I like bumped my eye, and then my eye just literally just popped out of my head, and I was like, "What the fuck just happened?" Like it was like the weirdest thing. All the years I've been alive, that has never happened to me, and it was just the craziest thing. And I was like, "Well, it's out now, so I'll just keep it out for a bit." So Angela had never seen me with the eye out. I kind of showed her, but I didn't like open it up where she could see it. Good night, Preston. See you, dude. And but she's like, I don't want to see it. It's gross. I'm sure it's gross. And yeah, it's pretty gross. And kind of sad too when you think about it. But I didn't open it up so she could see it. I just said, look, you can see it. It's just like because then it basically just hangs down because the false eye is what keeps the eyelid up. So when I don't have an eye, basically it's down unless I like specifically like stretch it open or whatever. And then Stefan saw it. I would shit myself if your eye came out. I didn't know. Yeah. Um and yeah, so Stefan saw it, but like he didn't really think of anything. The only time I ever got a reaction from Stefan is the first time I shaved because he had seen me from the time he was born, like always with a goatee or some sort of facial hair. And then I shaved clean the one day and I came in and was just like, hi. And he was just like, like he seemed like legitimately freaked out by the fact that I had no facial hair. It probably ain't that bad once you get used to it. I mean, well, of course. I mean, just like anything else, you can live without an eye. You'll be fine. But I mean, the process, you know, at the time, it doesn't seem like you ever make it when you're going through the whole ordeal, especially when you're in school and, kids are making fun of you because your eye looks different than everyone else, or, it's like, oh, your eyes are different colors, or, whatever bullshit like kids would come up with because kids are assholes, man. They just don't know. I mean, I guess, can you really call them assholes? Yeah, I think you can. But kids are just dicks. They just say what's on their mind and they say stupid stuff, and then everyone wants to like be like, "Oh, well, you look different than us," or your eyes look different, or you just look weird. And it's like, well, okay, like so do the handicapped kids like that go to the boiler room, but well, I mean, they were making fun of them too anyway. But even I could even make fun of them. I'm just kidding. But it's yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like kids are just assholes. Anytime anyone sees something different in life, it's like everyone just they lose it. They lose their shit. People make fun of it or poke at it or whatever just because it's different. And maybe part of it is too because you don't. It's not like you see that all the time. So I understand. Like there's gonna be a natural reaction if you aren't used to seeing someone who doesn't have a leg, and someone walks in and they're on crutches and they're missing a leg. You're gonna look and be like, "Oh shit!" Like that person doesn't have a leg. Like that's crazy, and it kind of like raises the intensity or whatever of the situation. Like you just feel like this, like, oh my god, like. So then when you see someone who's got like an eye that doesn't move or something, and you're like, oh God, what's wrong with that person's eye? I remember, dude, I had dealt with that shit with my eye since I was in uh since I was like in daycare in school. Like there were kids that made fun of me because of my eye and stuff, and it's like that shit just got old. And I honestly, that was the part of the reason why I didn't really have a lot of friends is because I was just like annoyed with people who would, it's just like, oh geez, am I gonna if I say something to someone or so, are they gonna like make fun of me because my eye, because I dealt with that shit from the time I was like starting to go to school. Because like I said, kids are just assholes. So, but I mean, I eventually found like my groups of friends and stuff like that. So it's not like I didn't have any friends, but I certainly wasn't like reaching out for friends because you're always just worried like, oh geez, what are people gonna think of me because this guy with this weird eye is like trying to talk to me or something. The the handicapped kids. So did you keep your original eye? Yes, I have. So my mom actually gave to me. I think it was before Stefan was born. Baker went on short. I did not go on a short bus. I'm not retarded. Just because you don't just because you're you're 50% blind doesn't mean you're retarded. JJ. Now if you were missing 50% of your brain, then it's a pretty good chance you might be retarded. Kids are sometimes the most ruthless people unintentionally. Yeah, I know, and that's why I try to like keep that in mind. As I understand, like part of it is just like it's part of the growing experience of going through life. But like when you're going like when you're in a school system though, you're around some of the same people. And so the fact that the same people react to you the same way for years, it's like, okay, now you're just being a dick. Like there's no excuse. Like the first time, okay, maybe. But if you're constantly like riding that horse, then it's or beating that horse, it's just like no, then you're just dumbass. Like fuck you. No, it's not hard for me to drive, JJ. It's not. Like honestly, I wish I could like. I'll just say this. Like I have better with one eye. I have better vision than my brother has two eyes. Of course, my mom has two eyes. Um, I have better vision than they do, and I have one eye. They can't drive at night because their eyes are all jacked up. I can drive at night. I'm perfectly fine. I got one eye. Um, even Angela. Like, and there's been times where like people with two eyes, like something drops on the floor and you're trying to find something. Um, how long did it take you to read? Wait, what? Oh, but yeah, so back to the original thing. So my mom, this last year, she gave me my first glass eye that I had when I was a baby. I had the one prior to that. So like as I got older, I had to get fitted for a new glass eye because obviously like your head gets bigger, so then you need something bigger to go in there to keep your eyelid open and all that stuff. Um so this is my third glass eye, but this is like my adult one, and I should never have to get another one. But so she gave me my original one from when I was a baby. Um, so I have that one now. So I have two glass eyes, two of my older glass eyes that I kept. I actually kept my wisdom teeth too. Because I'm weird. I'm like oddly nostalgic like that. Sorry, I'm like sweaty, but I'm oddly nostalgic like that. No, see, JJ, people in school said shit like that. People were like, "Oh, if I had a glass eye, I'd put like a smiley face on it," and all. And it's like, you know what? I don't need attention. Like, I get enough attention as it is by like having a weird looking fucking eye, and then just to go put a fucking smiley face on it just makes it even more weird. Then yeah, maybe some people might think that you're cool, maybe, but like most people, I think would just be like, "Oh God, now look at the guy with the weird eye who has a smiley face on it." You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it would have mattered, but like kids, it's once once people realize stuff about you, like that, I guess no one will ever walk in my shoes, other than someone who also does not have an eye, right? So I mean, it's a hell of a lot easier to say, "Oh yeah, I would have done this or I would have done that." Yeah, but you're not me and you don't know what it's like to be me. So you can't even say that. Like, yeah, in theory it sounds nice, but you don't walk my shoes, so you can't like really speak for what I should or shouldn't have done. So yeah, I've been having real problems going to sleep lately too, actually. That's another thing. I just realized it's almost 3. Probably should be going to bed sometime soon here eventually. um, but I've had a hard time sleeping lately too. The last couple of nights I've been like up till like 3, 4, 5:30 in the morning. One thing you learn in high school is you can't worry about what other people think about you. Yeah, and I think honestly, as you get older, then you just care less and less. I mean, you really do. You just get to a point like where you're just like, you know what? Fuck them. Like, I don't care. Like, if you want to think I'm an asshole or whatever, like, fine. Like, but then when you engage in conversation with me or you get to know me better, chances are you're not gonna believe that. But like, you can't change how people feel. So, and you're in most cases you're not gonna change how people think. So if they think something about you or they're dead set on like believing certain thing about you, you're not gonna change their mind anyway. So that's really the only conclusion that you can draw is, you know what, fuck it, like I don't care. Like think whatever you want, feel whatever you want. I can't change it, so who cares? Next, like next, let me deal with actual problems in life, not ones that people have with me just because they don't know me or don't want to know me or whatever. Now I will say that doesn't that's not always the case because I do care about what people think about me, like especially at work. When you interact with people, like I would never say like, oh, fuck you, or like go fuck yourself, or I don't care what you think about me. Like professionally, you want people to like respect you, and even non, I guess, not even at work, you want people to respect you, and so how you carry yourself matters. But if you present yourself as a normal person and you still have people who don't want to deal with you for whatever reason, then like yeah, then you just say, well, fuck you, I don't care. Like that's your problem. So as the popular kids couldn't stand those people, always think they're better than everyone. Yeah, I mean that's I've actually wanted to go back. I've never been to a high school reunion. Um, but now I have to wait like 7 years. So like the next possible high school reunion would be 7 years, and that would be 30 years. Uh, 30-year high school reunion, and is it 30? Oh, nine. Yeah, that would be, yeah, 30 years. So 2029. Um, because I was class of 99. I always wanted to go back to one of those and just see where some people landed. Because you have those people that you're just like, oh man, I remember that person. I hate them so much, or they were just like snarky or whatever, or just I don't know, like they just had that look about them where you're just like, why not 25? I don't know if they do 25 years. I mean, usually it's every decade. Your mom is also class of 90. No, she's not. Stop lying. Your mom's my age. I mean, she would have to be, obviously. I mean, she'd have to be either, well, she'd have to be 40, 41, or 42 if she was in the class of 99, unless she was held back or something. I don't know. OMG, she is. Dude, no, I don't believe you. Um, but anyways, yeah, usually it's every decade they do a reunion. But yeah, I just always wanted to go back, or like some people that were just dicks in school, just to go back and like see if they show up and be like, "Oh, hey, I remember you. You were that asshole who used to like just be annoying for no reason or something," and just see what they have to say. Like, did this person change? Are they willing to like maybe they'll apologize for something they did in the past or something, or you just know that they're still dicks and you're just like, okay, well, I thought that maybe you were a better person now or something, and clearly you're not. So you live in a small town, so your high school never had those cliche bullies. Everyone was kind of respectful and cool. Yeah, I don't think it. I don't. I don't remember like there was okay. There was this one kid I remember back from high school who I don't know. I don't know. He had it out for me for some reason. I really don't know why, but he was just an asshole. I remember one time in gym class. No, it was some like random thing. Oh, I okay. No, I remember why he did it, but it was just like okay, you're basically so this guy. He was a wrestler if I remember correctly. I think he actually like wrestled, and we were like in the middle of some like function. I don't remember. I was talking to my friends, and all of a sudden, some he came and ran up from behind me and like took me down to the ground and like had me in some type of like wrestling hold or something. And I'm just like, so he did this, and it was just like, okay, well here like he was friends with this kid, this other guy who we were in gym class the one day, and we were shooting basketball. We were playing basketball. We were shooting hoops, shooting around or whatever, and something happened where like he just like got in my face about something, and we just started, doing what boys do. We started to like, chat, talk shit to each other. And he went and tried to swing at me, like, but he was like trying to slap me, and I went back and I swung it and like sort of clipped him. I didn't like slap him hard, but like I got enough of him where I clipped him. And then the teacher happened to see us, so then she was like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And came over and couldn't do anything. Well, he had told his friend, and then his friend came and like attacked me from behind. And it's like, okay, really? Like, first off, you're a bitch because you couldn't stand up to me yourself. You should have just came at me again or something, and not be like a bitch and go tell your friend because he happens to be like a wrestler or something. And he was like definitely bigger than this other kid. And this was like, and he was definitely bigger than me. And obviously, I'm not like a wrestler or anything. So it's like, and plus, then on two, on top of it, you're equally as much of a bitch because you had to attack me from behind in order to take me down. You didn't come at me head on. You didn't say, "Hey, what was the deal with like smacking my friend in the face the other day or whatever?" Should have used those WWE moves. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, how are you gonna attack me from behind? Like, that is like the dirtiest fucking shit. Like, so I was like, I never like really worried about that too much because it's like, okay, if you can't just come at me from up front, then I'm not even going to pay you any attention. Like, at least be like a man and stand up to me. Use the 619. Yeah. Yeah, I remember one time we were young. I can't remember how young. I'm pretty sure I was like younger than a teenager at the time. He's probably dead or in jail. Well, see, I don't know because a lot of these kids they had money. We lived in Solon, and all these kids had money. We didn't really have money, and we had 40-cent lunches, so we didn't have money like them. Um, but that's why I want to see where some of these people ended up because it's like, you guys had all this money. Now, granted, I know some people definitely they moved out of state, like they live in different states now and all that stuff, but I guess it'd just be interesting to see like how far did your family's mother money carry you, or did you go make something of yourself? I want to just be able to walk in there and say, "Hey, I'm an IT manager and I'm in technology and we do really cool stuff." And what do you do? Well, I work at Burger King, or it's kind of like so I can just be like, okay, like okay, you little preppy kids, 40 cents lunches. Sheesh. Yeah, I mean, because my parents like combined household wise, like they didn't make enough money. Because I mean, otherwise the lunches, school lunches were like $1.25 or some shit like that per lunch. So I mean, you're paying $1.25 a day for two kids, so 250 a day. So what? That's $5 in 4 days. No, 2 days. So $10. So what, $15 or something? They finna call you a nerd. So it's like, what, $15 a week or something for school lunches for two kids. And so like they were able to get there was like a reduced lunch plan that we would get, so we got 40-cent lunches. That's how it works. But I don't, oh, so there was this one time at band camp. Now, we were at an apartment complex. I don't remember who lived there, but for some reason, we were there with our cousins from my stepfather's side of the family, and this one little boy. There was this one little boy who was like he kept picking on um one of my cousins who it was, and she was a girl, so he was picking on one of my cousins, and I'm just like, dude, like stop. And like I was just like, I was like, you need to stop like picking on little girls. And he's like, I'm gonna go tell my brother on you and all this stuff. And I'm like, good, go. I'm like, and I'll just tell him what you're doing. And then so eventually I got to the point where he's like, okay, I'm going. And he ran into the house to go tell his brother. And then like my cousins and my brother were just like, oh man, he's gonna come out. He's gonna be so mad. He's gonna kick your ass and all this kind of stuff. And now, granted, this wasn't exactly the hood, but I mean, it was hood enough where I was like, I was actually a little worried. I told him, I was like, no, it'll be fine. So this kid comes out. He was, I think he was older than us. He was definitely taller than me. I remember that. He comes out. He's like, what's going on? I heard like, what are you doing? Like, what are you picking on my brother for or whatever? I'm like, dude, I'm like, he's like picking on this like helpless little girl. And, I'm like, I was just telling him to stop. Like, he was, and that's my cousin. So, and he shouldn't be picking on a little girl. He's a boy. And then the guy's like, "Oh, yeah, okay." Like, and that was it. And I was just like, "Wow!" Like someone who actually listened to logic and reason. I couldn't believe it at such a young age. Like that someone did. I was like, "Oh, thank." I was actually more thankful I get my ass kicked that day. But I was like, "Hey, but that's the way the world should work. You should be able to just tell someone, hey, just communicate. This is what they were doing. This is why it was wrong." And then just say, "Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense." I honestly did not expect that reaction from that kid. No matter how old he was. I mean, he wasn't like an adult either. I mean, this was like a kid, but obviously a kid who had a good head on his shoulders. And so it was nice that, that turned out that way for me that day. I'm almost done with my 7 Up. Bro, I thought you were going to say he took a swing and then you gave him a stunner. Nah, man, I've never used my wrestling moves on anyone in a fight. I've been punched twice in my life. I can't remember if once it was a punch or if it was a slap. I feel like it was a punch, but I never went down. I mean, obviously they were just kind of like more like jabs, I guess, than like someone winding up and like going full like fist. But I've been punched in the face like twice, or like in the jaw twice, but I never went down. Like whatever they did, it didn't hurt. It was just like, but it was like, um, it was just surprising, I guess, to put it that way. It was just surprising because it's like, what did I do to deserve like someone to like try to punch me like for some reason? But usually it was just because like I don't know. I have a way. I guess I have a knack like certain people do of getting under people's skin. And it was all in like the two times it happened. It was just over dumb shit. It was over like a football score like on the football field when we were playing, like football with a couple people or something, and we'd get an argument about like, what the score was, and people would always be trying to change this. I remember this one kid, they kept changing the score. I'm like, dude, no, this is what the score is. I was keeping track, and we got into an argument, and then one kid just like punched me. I'm like, dude, like why? Over a fucking score. Like, I mean, yes, you could say the same to me. Why were you arguing over a football score? But it's like, but dude, that's competition, and I'm a very competitive person. So if you're telling me I'm not winning, then I'm gonna be upset. So like naturally, I'm gonna argue that, especially if I know that I was, or hey, we weren't that far down, or behind, But I don't know, like those. So I've been punched twice, and I think they were both related to something having to do with like football games or something like that. Silly people. Maybe you did get the score wrong. No, I don't get it wrong. You know, so Angela, she goes today, well, yesterday. So yesterday I went to Top Golf and I told her that I was going to go like earlier in the week. So then she knew last night I was having a hard time sleeping again, and I eventually I went to sleep. I don't even know what time. It was probably it had to be after 2:30 some point. And so when I came down this morning, yesterday morning, and was talking to her, she's like, "Oh yeah," she's like, "You were telling me something." She said, "Oh, you said you last night that you weren't going this morning," and I'm like, "I never said that." And she goes, "Yeah, you did." She's like, "I swear you told me that," and I'm like, "I remember that." And she's like, "No, yeah, you said you were too tired and you weren't going," and I'm like, maybe that was just me being sleep deprived or something. Like, I don't know, but I'm like, I really think I would still remember that. And I said, the only thing I remember telling you was I said, if the baby wakes up, I'm like, just tell me to get up and go take care of him. I said, that's all you need to do. Just nudge me, be like, hey, babe, can you go take care of him? And I would do it. I said, that's the only thing I told you last night. But beyond that, I did not say anything about not going. And she kept trying to convince me of this. So we get closer and closer to me going. So as soon as I go out and walk out the door, she kept like being all like kind of like upset about it that I was still going. And then just as I was getting ready to leave, she's like, she came over, we gave each other a kiss, and she's like, "Oh, I just want to let you know that you didn't actually tell me that you were not going last night. I was just trying to see how long I could carry that and not laugh." And see and try to convince you that that's what you said. And I'm like, oh, so basically you're practicing lying to me? I'm like, well, that's not. I'm like, what the hell is that? She's like, no, I'm not lying. She's like, I was just acting. And it's like, really? Like, I'm like, that's not nice. And I'm like, I knew I didn't say anything to you though. I'm like, I would remember that. Even if I was tired, I would still remember telling you, oh, I'm not going. And plus, there was no reason for me to say that at that time because even if I went to bed at 3, like, and I had to wake up at 9, that's still like 6 hours of sleep, and I can function on 6. I can function on 5. Hell, I functioned on 2 before. I function on none. I've done 24-hour streams. I've got that in the bag. I've got experience. But yeah, she kept trying to convince me of that all morning, and I'm just like, I never said that. But, anyways, Snapchat, I'm starting to get a shit ton of spam, like, friend invites. That's really annoying. 24-hour stream this year, dude, I don't think that's going to be possible. You need your sleep. I know. But, I feel like what's really weird is I feel like I need to test this theory again. I have this theory that 8 hours of sleep for me is too much. How about for 24 streams this year? Sign me up for the plan. That would be approximately one stream every 2 weeks because there's 52 weeks in a year, so double that. So it'd be approximately a stream every 2 weeks. JJ, but the problem is that I got a baby. I got a son. I can't just be like, "Hey, babe, like, sorry for a whole day. We're blocked off. I can't watch my kid or say hi or anything because I'm streaming." It doesn't exactly work that way. Now, I mean, if it was my primary income, if I didn't have a job and that was my job, then that would be a whole different thing. But it's not, so I can't exactly get away with that. So, and honestly, I wouldn't even know what to stream because I don't play video games anymore really. Other than, like I said, mobile games. That's really all I play. Even then, they're not things that are worth streaming because they're usually like they're like those idle games like Golden Goblins or I was playing that Office one they had, but I actually just uninstalled that game and left them a shitty review because I got pissed off. stream your life 24 hours. Hell no. I was thinking about doing that at some point where like you stream like everything, but that's kind of it's too invasive. And especially now with the family, like, you got more other people's lives involved and stuff, and I'm not gonna do all that. Oh my goodness. Well, I got some good pictures of the baby in his elf costume. I can't remember if I put any in Discord or not, but I have like a couple I can add in there. I took a really good one. First workout of 2023 today. Nice. Mine will be tomorrow. That's the other thing that's hard too about working out or like doing any form of exercise is because I really like to wake up early to do that. But now that I'm more or less like kind of having to go to sleep at 1, I can't just 4 hours is not really enough sleep. Like I don't like I'd like to wake up at 5 and do all that stuff and get out of the way before work. But worst case, I'd have to get up at like I have to really make sure like I could get up at 6 and still do it. I could possibly get up at 7 and still do it. But normally when I was doing it last week, I was doing it right after work. And she knew, so I let her know. Okay, after babe, I'm like, babe, after work, I'm just gonna go downstairs, do my exercise, take a shower. But it's kind of like I feel kind of bad about that though, because it's like she just literally spent the whole day with the baby. And it's like, oh, by the way, babe, like I'm gonna need more time for myself so that I can go do what I need to do, and you can just stay with the baby for another like hour and a half or whatever. So I'm just like, it's like it sucks because I don't like, I need to be able to do what I need to do, but like then she's kind of like, I don't take this the wrong way. I mean, she's stuck with the baby, but I mean, it's like she just had the whole day with him, and so now it's like, oh, dad gets another hour and a half away from you. So I don't like that either, but I mean, I don't really have much of a choice. If I could do it early enough in the morning, then it would be better because he's not necessarily up like that early all the time. So I could get up at 6 or well, by 6 or 7, he's definitely up. He usually wakes up at like 4 or 5 in the morning. So she's usually up before I even get up. Bring the baby down with you? Nah, because that's hard. I mean, it's just, because one, the basement's a little cooler, so he'll get colder faster. But if I'm not paying attention to him, I can't really because then I'd be stopping the video and all that stuff. So then you kind of lose the momentum. You kind of lose, when they're doing like things to ramp your heart rate up and all that. Like you can't stop in the middle of that stuff because then you basically just kill the whole purpose of the exercise. So it would just be like that would just be way too tough. Because if he starts to get fussy or he needs to eat, it's hard. Or he needs a diaper change or he just needs attention. Like of course, they kids need a lot of attention. They want you to pay attention to them. It's me 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 me. Like so yeah, it's just kind of hard to. That's why I said we were talking about going to a gym because at least that way we can get away from the house. But then again we end up in the whole conundrum with well who's gonna watch them. So okay, well, man, it's been 2 hours. Probably definitely a lot longer than I anticipated on going for here, but it was nice. This living room is like way different now. Did you watch them? This living room is like way different now from probably the last time you guys even saw anything in here. It's actually pretty nice. I bought some new stuff. I don't even know if I showed my living room before. But like well, that's over by the fireplace. And now you see we got the little swing. There's the Christmas tree. My Browns Christmas tree is in my office. That's a new TV stand I got. But remember before I had that black TV stand, there's Peyton. She looked dead by the Christmas tree. The tree, okay, it just hit New Year's. You don't take down your Christmas stuff till after New Year's Day, JJ. God, don't you know anything? The dog, I know she's just like sitting there. She looks like she might as well be dead. The dog is dead. She's sleeping. Her eyes are closed. And occasionally she'll be like, "Ooh," like she's having a dog dream or whatever. Whatever the hell dogs dream about. Bones, I don't know, treats. Oh, I said a T word and she didn't even jump up. So you know she's in a deep sleep. Usually if I say the T word, she's just like. But anyways, all right. Well, it was nice, guys. I'm not gonna promise. I'm not gonna promise anything about streaming more often, or I'd like to come back on here and like talk to you guys every once in a while because I do miss that. Like I said, it's just kind of hard to get good times. Like I said, I mean, I could always do something possibly after 11, but that's like really my only good time during the week, or I guess any day really, because basically anytime after 11 is my time to keep an eye on the baby. So we'll see. Maybe I'll jump on later some nights, or like you said, once a week, or something along those lines. So thank you guys for everyone who came by to see me tonight, even for like 5 minutes. Um, I appreciate it. I hope everyone has a great new year. I hope everyone has something to look forward to this year. And I hope everyone has some goals set, some things that they can accomplish, and make yourself better. That's the best you could do. So just don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything stupid, JJ, okay? Not in 2023. Keep it all on the positive. Not COVID and not HIV. Good night, sexy. You know it. All right, guys. Thank you, Donovan, JJ. Appreciate you guys very much. And it's been a long time for that since this, but until next time, guys. Bye bye. Bye bye. Yes, fluff women in more ways than one, right? Am I right? Am I right? All right. Good night, guys.